What's up guys, Juan. So today, right behind me, you can see we have my friend Anthony's Mustang that we're going to be doing a short little video clip on, showing you guys the car, checking it out and everything. This is a new series I've been thinking about doing, just going over friends' cars or people's cars and just have them let us know about their car. Not really like a review like some people do. There's plenty of people who do that already, but I just wanted you to, show you guys there's actually some nice cars built in this area, and just kind of do an overview and just let another person's perspective, the actual owner of the car, give you their perspective of their own car. So what we have here is a 2014 Mustang GT 5-liter. It is supercharged, as you guys can see right there. And now what I'm going to do is we're just going to go over the car, talk about all the modifications that were done to the car to get it to this point, what kind of power is pushing, all that kind of stuff. So we'll just talk to the owner of the car. Let's start with the engine bay. So what do you got going on?
Pretty much, it's just, like you said, it's supercharged. It's got a Paxton Novi 2200 SL, so it's self-lubricating. It has its own oil unit inside the supercharger, so you don't have to tap into the oil pan like a turbo, or the older Paxtons you had to do that, but this one, you just change the oil on its own schedule, separate from the engine oil. It only takes like maybe 8 ounces of fluid, or it's usually pretty small, and the intervals are like 7,500 miles between oil changes, so it's really good, and the oil is not that bad. It's kind of cheap. It is, like I said, the Paxton kit. The only option I technically bought a tuner kit, so it didn't come with any fuel injectors or a tuner or any fuel pump mods. So it does have Injector Dynamics 1000cc injectors. It does have a VMP boosted pump, so it's a stock fuel pump, but it has the boosted pump to up the voltage on it, to put more fuel in the engine when it's in boost. And then it does have the JLT Performance intake, which adds another pound of boost, so it brings it up to about 8 pounds of boost total. But it won't hit 8 pounds until around 7,200 RPM, so you're really kind of screaming at that point. And then it does have UPR catch cans on both the clean side and the driver's side. But
this one right here?
Yeah, so that's one of them, and then the other one sits actually on the driver's side too. The hose wraps around the back of the engine bay. So it connects right behind the throttle body and the intake manifolds, and then just goes out there.
And what kind of power is it pushing before the supercharger?
I'd never dynoed it before the supercharger, but at the crank it made 420 for this model year. And then now to the wheels, on 93 octane it's making, the most it made was 609 horsepower to the rear wheels and 488 pound-feet of torque to the rear wheels. Because these things aren't very torquey, these kind of kits. They make a lot of horsepower, not a ton of torque.
So 609 to the rear wheels, 93.
Yeah, and I daily on the 93 tune. I do have a 91 octane tune just in case I go to a place that doesn't have 93. I can always just switch it, just keep the tuner with me. It's tuned using SET software. And it's a stock PCM too.
Front end?
So yeah, the front end, everything on here is all Ford factory parts. It did have the stereotypical like fog lights in the middle, but I took those out and I got a California Special grill. And they put these on the Cobra Jet cars too. I just took the badge off so it looks a little bit cleaner. It's just like a billet style. The lower grill is the same thing. It's a factory California Special. I had this is the car's third chin splitter. The first two got messed up, so I had a Roush one before this, and now I have a factory Boss 302 one. I got it, actually, it's the same thing on the California Special cars. They put the same chin splitter, so I had to modify like the undershield a little bit to get it to work. But if you cut it down a little bit, it works just fine. You can maintain the undershield if you really want to keep that, which you really should.
Going on for wheels and tires and brakes.
So this thing actually came with the 2-piston brakes, the factory GTs. Unless you got the performance pack or the track pack, you got really crappy brakes. So I ended up finding a guy locally that was selling these Brembos. They came factory in these cars, so they bolt right on, except you're supposed to really kind of get a different dust shield. I just nixed the dust shield thing. It's got slotted rotors. I did paint the calipers a satin black, and it does say Brembo on it. It does have a decal. It's kind of hard to see. I'm not like super duper showy, so it just kind of, I like the way it looks with the satin black and the gloss black letters. But the wheels are Ford Star F14. The fronts are 20/9 with a 35mm offset, plus 35. And it's got Nitto NT 555 G2 tires, 275, 35, 20 in the front, and then the backs have 20/11 wheels, so they're staggered, and the backs have 315, 35, 20. So it's a little taller in the back, so it kind of gives it a raked look. If people are into that kind of thing, I'm kind of so-so on it. They're factory calipers. They're only single piston. Yeah.
He almost got fitment like me when I had it on the scat.
Almost,
just not quite.
Yeah, so it's their factory single piston calipers. You can actually still see the Ford Motor Company still on them. I painted the same thing. I painted them satin black to match with the front, but it is running GT500 rotors, because the rotors in the GT500 cars are actually 13.8 inches in diameter. You just have to buy like an adapter bracket, or you can just change out the caliper mounting bracket with a Ford factory one. They're like maybe $100. They're pretty cheap. But
all right, transitioning to the rear of the car. Is there any changes made visually back here?
Yeah, so it's the same thing. Like it's got more Ford parts in the back. So the back end is like a GT500 styling. It's got the bigger rear wing. This car is actually on its second rear panel right here. The first one had like some clear coat issues, which is actually super common for these cars. But luckily it was still under warranty, and I got Ford to replace this whole panel for free. It does have the GT500 quad diffuser, because the basic GT cars didn't come with any diffuser. You had to buy like a Boss car or a California Special or something to get something nice. So I went with the GT500 one because I wanted to run the quad tips. And so yeah, this is the only thing exhaust-wise that isn't factory, and it's the Corsa Extremes.
You said it was a catback exhaust, right?
No, not even. It's just axle back.
The axle back on the Corsa.
Just the last of it.
Corsa has some of the prettiest exhausts. If you guys never seen these tips before, and you can actually buy the tips. I thought about it for a little while, just buying the tips and getting welded on, but they have some of the nicest tips and exhaust out there. A lot of guys use the Corsa Extreme on some of like the Hellcats and other, pretty much any car. They usually make it a Corsa Extreme version, which is pretty much like a straight pipe almost, pretty loud exhaust.
Yeah, it doesn't drone at all. So that's the whole selling point of why it's so expensive too.
Changed in here.
A lot of people don't realize, but there's actually a lot of money in the interior of this car. It did come with these Recaros from the factory. It was one of the only options I got with this car. This is a factory base model car, which I regret doing that. Got in the premium model, so I instead, over time, as I started gathering up the parts that came factory on the premium models, and added them. But
so now we're gonna see if we can get a little exhaust clip, so you guys can hear what these Corsas sound like. It sounds pretty mean, but it's just the right amount of loud. Guys can hear things pretty loud. Not like insanely loud to where it's like unbearable like some of the cars you hear around there. It's like you get the loudness when you want it, but when you're just cruising down the road and everything like that, it's really not bad at all. Because I've been in some cars where they have major drone problems and everything else, and it gets really old really quick, which if I remember correctly, you had a different exhaust that had that issue before you went to this one.
I had a SLP loudmouths originally. They just droned so bad. They were just pretty much muffler release. They look nice,